I've been here about, a little over 3 months now, and I've only been a priest for 3 years, but I've noticed something growing up and just something I observe when I come to a place or into any parish, whether I'm the pastor or whether I'm just filling in. I can always usually tell the health of a parish based on one factor. When I look out there and I preach, and I look out into the congregation, I look and see how many men there are sitting out there. And ladies, I love you, but this homily is not going to be for you today, okay? The health of a parish, the health of a family depends on its men. Because you are to be the spiritual leader of the family. So a reflection of your life at home is reflected here in the church. Thankfully, I look out here, we're about half and half. That's a good sign. That's a good, healthy number. I'd like it to be a little bit more, but that's a good, healthy number. Because I've been to places where I walk in and it's like 70% women. And I can tell the health of the place based on that. Men are disengaged and they're out doing something else. They're out on a Sunday fishing, they're out hunting, they're watching football, they're sitting in the recliner, they're eating, pizza and drinking beer. They're not spiritually leading the family. How does that reflect? The rest of the family is struggling. There's a study that came out a few years ago that says if the father is active, if he is actively leading the family, if he is a man of God, he takes his faith seriously, he is the visible leader, then the entire family follows him. Their kids are engaged, the wife is engaged. But if it's just the mother that's engaged, only 2% of those kids are going to take the faith seriously. 2%. And they leave. And the women are doing heroic things, trying to hang on, trying to do what a man should be doing to begin with. Being a spiritual father, leading your family. I'm going to use this first reading as an example of who we are. Because we sanitize Christianity. We sanitize it a lot. And we expect, these churches that play on your emotions, guys, they want you to have, an emotional experience of God. We don't do that. I'm not going to get with you and hold your hand and talk about our feelings and expect that's what you want to do. I don't want to do that. As a guy, I expect you probably don't want to do that, but that's what we kind of evolved into. If you just look at this first reading, this is what God calls us to. All right. Beginning. In those days, Amalek came and waged war against Israel. Moses therefore said to Joshua, pick out certain men, and tomorrow go out and engage Amalek in battle. The Amalekites, if you don't know this, is an enemy of Israel. As they're going through the Holy Land, as they're coming out of Egypt, and they're going to the Promised Land, the Amalekites continually harass the Israelites. They're an ancient enemy. Israel's fighting them throughout Scripture. What does God say to do? Go pick out Moses, call certain guys, and go pick out your men. Go to war with them. These fools are harassing you. Go stomp them out. I can get behind that. Go engage in the battle. Go engage in the battle. That's something every man can get behind because it's in our DNA. We get up each morning and really we want something to protect. We want something to go fight. Hell, most days I get out of bed looking for a fight because it's ingrained in us. To protect the family, to go fight something. Go engage in the battle. The Amalekites are the ancient enemy of Israel. Who are the Amalekites for us? It's the same enemy it's always been. Satan and his minions are constantly at war with us. Go engage in fighting. Go engage him. And not be fearful and not be sanitized. What does that look like for you and your family? It's to be a person of faith, to be a person of prayer, to lead your family. Study the Scripture, as St. Paul said in 2 Timothy today. Study Scriptures. Lead your family in nighttime prayers. Be a person of faith. Demand things of your family. Lead them to God. Take your faith seriously. If your kids are screaming, they don't want to do anything, tough. We're going to Mass today. Hey, we're praying the rosary tonight. I don't feel like praying the rosary. Tough. Lead your family. Engage in the battle. You know, Bishop Olmsted of Phoenix, Arizona wrote this a couple years ago, Into the Breach. He wrote this apostolic exhortation. I encourage every man here to read it. It's brilliant. And he's really encouraging men to be men again in the faith, to lead your family, because there is a huge breach right now. And you got to look no further than the news headlines to see it, of what a society looks like that's fallen. And it's fallen for one reason, because men are not leading their families. It's basically his premise. They're not engaged the way we're called to be engaged. You think Christianity sanitized? Look at the Crusaders. They went for one reason, for God. God wills it was their motto. Pope Urban II called for crusades in the name of Christianity because God willed it. They were not men that just came to Mass and were just very shy and just nailed over and did the prayers like this. They were absolutely unsanitized men. That's okay. That's what we're called to be in the name of Christianity, to wage war against the Amalekites, to wage war against Satan and himself. And it's tiring. I know it is tiring. It's draining, leading all the time and fighting all the time. But God gives us also the answer in this scripture. If you listen carefully, Moses is tired. He is tired from leading his troops into battle. He's tired. When he does hands up and he's praying constantly, they're having the better of their fight, it says. When his hands fall, the Amalekites get the better of him. What's the answer? His soldiers, the other men, come and bring him a rock to sit on. And they prop up his arms. That's what we're called to do, man. When we're tired, when we're struggling, we have this bond, we have this brotherhood, we support each other. We prop each other's arms up. And I really want to do that here. I'm going to start inviting people over to the rectory. We're going to build this brotherhood so we can support one another. We're not going to do weird things, trust me. We're not going to sit around and talk about feelings. But we're going to build a brotherhood of prayer so that we can support each other and that we can be the fathers, the spiritual father I'm called to be to you, and the fathers you're called to be to your family and beyond. And if you're not a father, maybe one day you will be one, but you will have your place to lead the family. Because what happens, I want to close with this, what happens when we build this up, when we're men of fervent prayer, when we're fathers who are called to be, oh yeah, it says, Joshua mowed Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. He mowed them down. He didn't negotiate with them. He didn't come to peace terms. He mowed them down. I love that. Because that's what we're called to be, man. We fight Satan and his minions. We fight the modern Amalekites. When we are who we are called to be as men of family, as men in the world, as men of this Roman Catholic Church, we mow Satan down. We absolutely destroy him. With the grace of God, let us continue to mow evil out of our lives.